Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully you're having a good week. It's Thursday again, everybody. I know, it goes by way too fast. It's insane. This whole fall is like blowing by. I need to play more golf because I can see the light at the end of the tunnel here in Detroit happening, and I'm not going to be able to play forever, which stinks. So, got to get some more golf in. It's just crazy, man. This year's going by too fast. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I'm a dad of a 3-year-old. I don't know what it is. But this year's just been flying by. So again, got to get some golf in. I got to hit some stuff. I got to have some fun on the course before I'm done. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining in, for stopping in again every week. I truly appreciate it. Before we get into this episode, I want to let you know this episode brought to you by the new Titleist TSR Woods. And yes, listen, the hours have been put in. The work has been done. As the moment approaches, you either feel it, fear it, or you feel it. For Titleists, it's a moment filled with pure anticipation, the accumulation of a relentless pursuit of speed in every form. So step up and settle in with confidence. Titleist TSR is here. The new TSR drivers take everything that made TSI the #1 driver on tour and pack even more performance into every head. From the new face technologies to the CG improvements and aerodynamic refinements, when everything moves the needle, you're playing at Titleist speed. Go to Titleist.com to learn more about TSR metals and to schedule your fitting today. Titleist TSR, find your faster. So, yep, TSR. I got my TSR 2 head here, and it's what I've actually been gaming a little bit lately, which is pretty cool. So I've been playing a lot of TSR 2, and it's a pretty darn good head. And if you're thinking about getting fit and trying one out, definitely do it. It's definitely worth giving one a whirl. The 3 heads, they're absolutely phenomenal. So anyway, another week, man. It is crazy. I do want to say thank you very much for everybody who's participated in all my Q&As on Instagram. If you go to @ClubJunkiePod, that's where you can follow me. That's where you can contact me the best. Have some great conversations with people through DMs and stuff like that. People have offered to send me stuff. I mean, it's insane how cool the golf community is, especially through Club Junkie, through the Golf WRX, all that. I mean, golfers are just awesome people, and I love hanging out with you guys. I love hanging out. I love talking clubs and stuff like that. So clubs, shafts, grips, whatever. I mean, it's just a whole lot of fun hanging out with you guys. And this past 2 years that I've been doing Club Junkie under that name, it's just been kind of cool, man. It's awesome. So and also when you check it out, follow @ClubJunkiePod. Go in there. I'm giving away a totally custom Callaway Fairway 14 golf bag, 14-way top, black and white, really sharp. Got the Club Junkie logo on the ball pocket, which is pretty cool. There's only one of them that I know of that exists. Well, there's that one, and then there's the 5-way top, the Fairway Plus, that I've been using pretty much all year. But the 14, I just don't love the 14-way top as much, so I'm giving you guys a chance to win it. So it'll be pretty. It's a pretty cool prize. So that's going to end here shortly, so definitely make sure to jump in there. I think it's ending tomorrow. But jump in there and sign up and get registered. So super easy to do. But anyway, been a good week. I've been out, played some golf. I played last Thursday. I didn't get 18 holes in. I rarely push it that hard, but I got another 15 in last week. So got out there and played, and it definitely gets dark soon. It gets dark fast. It kind of stinks. I'm so used to it being light out for till 9:30 or whatever it was, and now it's getting dark like 7:30 or it's just crazy. But excuse me, went out and played and actually played pretty decent. The past couple rounds I've gone out and played, I've actually hit the ball fairly well, so I've been happy with that, and I can't complain. I've been I mean, I don't know if my scores are necessarily showing that I'm hitting it as well as I am, but I feel pretty good and hit a lot of good shots. And on last Thursday it was super windy, so I'm hit like 0 greens. I literally think I hit like 0 greens. I was hitting I just couldn't get the ball to go where I wanted to go with the wind and all that. So it was just a little bit of a struggle, but it was still fun. Had a good time. A couple guys from my league still played, so I wasn't playing alone yet. But I think that is coming very soon as the weather has gotten a little chillier this week. So I'm playing tomorrow. I'm playing Friday. So I got 2 rounds looking to go this week as well. So either further going through hitting stuff, and I thought I was going to do my kind of end of the year, what's in the bag. This week I thought I was going to do it, but I've got two really cool things that I'm excited to talk about. I mean, like, this show's awesome. I mean, hopefully you can hear my voice. I'm super excited about. I got two things to talk about that I've been hitting really well and playing with, and it's been really cool. I think you guys will be excited to hear about them as well. Yeah, I mean, I've just got, I just want to keep playing, keep moving along, and I've still got a few things to hit, to talk about, but, yeah, I mean, I'll be playing Thursday and Friday as well, but it definitely is a little chillier up here than it has been in the past few weeks, so I've been playing in pants and vests and whatever, but it's all good. I'm having a good time, so, again, like I said, super excited about this show, because I've got two things that are pretty big. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I readjusted my camera so you're a little closer into my face, which is probably a bad thing. The beard is getting a little unruly here in the winter months. I need to trim it down, but it's keeping me warm on the course. So it's one of those the lesser of two evils. I've also noticed that sitting here in this camera angle now that's closer, my right side is far more white and gray than my left side. So I'm kind of, maybe my right side of my body's just older. I don't know. I'm just aging more on the right side, I guess. But this thing's getting big and gray. I threatened to shave it off the other day, and my wife said no. but it is, like I said, keeping me warm out there on these evening rounds that are a little bit chillier. So anyway, what I'm going to do today, first thing that I'm going to talk about is a brand new putter that actually showed up. I was not actually, I knew it was coming. I talked to the guys about it, put my order in, all that. It was great. They told me it was going to be like 6 to 8 weeks to get the putter. They were just super backed up. I said, no problem. Had lots of other stuff here to play with. But it finally showed up. I wasn't expecting it to show up. I'd kind of forgotten that it had been about 7 weeks. So didn't all of a sudden realize that, I walked into the office and there's a box with a putter in it. So was super excited to see it, and I do have to say that I was a little surprised by it, but in a good way. So the thing that showed up first that I've been waiting a little while on is, I'm knocking everything over, is the new Lab Golf, as you can see by the kind of cool brown head cover here that I've got. I opted for the brown head cover when I ordered this time to make something a little different. But it's the new Lab Mezz.1 Max putter. So the Mezz.1 Max is the big brother to the Mezz.1. So the Mezz.1, if you guys are probably familiar with in terms of seeing it on Golf WRX, I know I had Sam Hahn on from Lab to talk about the original Mezz, and this is the larger, bigger brother. And really the whole reason they did this was to get a putter that was even more stable than the Mezz. So the Mezz is a great putter. It's got the lie angle balancing, meaning when you hold a putter, typically they have face balance, meaning that the face points to the sky. When you just basically rest the putter, say on a table, on your fingers with the head, kind of hanging off. And then there's also ones with toe hang, meaning the toe hangs at some type of position, whether it's, just slightly the toe just slightly hangs down, or it hangs, almost all the way down to 6 o'clock, depending on the design and the heel, or the design of the putter and how the shaft goes into the head. And then there's lie angle balanced, which, if you're, again, watching this on YouTube, and again, if you want to watch on YouTube, go to Golf WRX Radio, just search that. But basically, you hold it, like I said, in your fingers, not touching anything, just rest the shaft on there, and you'll see that the face of the putter actually lines up perfectly aligned at the target, or at the cup, whatever it would be. So the toe of the putter is sitting in the air, the heel of the putter is pointing towards the ground, and the face is pointing at the cup or the ball, your target, whatever. And basically what this is to take away, as Sam was telling us, it's basically to make putting easier, to basically make that the putter through the stroke basically just wants to stay aligned to the target. And that's going to help a lot of golfers who have problems with the face rotating throughout the stroke. When the face is pointed at the target, you're probably going to be more consistent with it, and you're going to hit it, at your target more often. Now, I know, and it's funny because Sam and all the guys from Lab, the biggest comment they get is, the putter's ugly. And they're like, you know what? It kind of is, in a sense, ugly. In a way that it sits and all that. Now, the Mezz series, I think, is far better looking than the DF series. The DF, I think, is 2.0 or 2.1. had the big rounded back and the face, and it kind of looked like a little bit of an alien. I think the Mezz series, when it first came out, looked really good. It's kind of got that traditional, or not traditional, but it's kind of got that fang look to it that a lot of putters have gone to. And it was just a really nice look, nice shape, and I think the way that the shaft goes into the head, which is kind of dead center and leaning forward to help get that lie angle balancing, it just, the shape really does make it look a lot cleaner, a lot easier on the eyes. So what they did, they had the Mezz.1 out, and I putted with that, and I really liked it. I thought it was a great putter. Putted pretty well with it. It didn't necessarily kick my gamer out of the bag, I will say, but it was a really good option, and I'm glad that I open-mindedly gave it a shot, because I think a lot of people look at these things and immediately say, I'm done, I'm out. And you're kind of doing yourself a disservice there. So the Mezz Max came out as basically a much more stable and more forgiving version of the Mezz. They kind of found that they wanted to improve the stability of the putter and the accuracy of kind of off-center hits and all that. And they wanted to make it more forgiving, because they found the DF 2.1, the ugly one, quote unquote, that they make, was a little more forgiving than this head here. Just how much weight was behind on it and out and to the sides. It just had a little bit more stability. So the Mezz Max came out, and this is actually 20% larger than the Mezz.1. So the Mezz.1 Max, the Max is 20% larger, which when they said that, I kind of, they were kind of showing it online, and I think they were purposely kind of like blowing up the photos to make the head look bigger. I was expecting a monster. I was expecting an absolute huge putter to come out of the box, and I was shocked that it is not that much bigger. And when you set it down, really doesn't. I mean, it's much more compact than I thought. It's a little bit bigger, but it's not a huge. I mean, it's a big putter, but it's not huge. It's not weird to the eye or anything like that. It actually looks really good, and that's the part that shocked me the most, because I was really worried about, if this thing's so big, it's just going to look like a dinner plate down there. It's going to be massive, and I'm not going to like the look of it. It looks really good. And to be honest, my Mezz.1 is actually with a different guy, a guy WRX who works with us. Wanted to try it, so I gave it to him a couple weeks ago. He's been putting with it. So I didn't have this one to set right now next to it, and just pulling this out of the box, putting a ball down on the office carpet, and hitting a few putts, I honestly almost didn't even notice that it was that much bigger. But I did notice immediately through the stroke that it was just had a really good feel to it. It was a little, I guess you call it a little more stable. I mean, you just through the stroke. I mean, the Mezz.1, I definitely really liked how the putter just moved through the stroke. I mean, I found that if I gripped it really loosely and just kind of let the putter do the work, it did the work, and it was really good at it. And this is even more so. I feel like this one, again, gripping it very lightly, pulling it back and letting it go forward. Short putts are basically, if you read it right and you're on the right line and all that, and you hit it hard enough, it's going in. I mean, it's just super easy. There's a ton of confidence in it in terms of short putts. But it does feel a little different through the stroke, and I think this added stability, which this is now almost as forgiving as the DF 2.1. They're almost exactly the same. This one definitely, in my eyes, looks a heck of a lot better. I think it frames the ball a lot better, and I like kind of the triple. I went with a triple alignment aid on this one, but definitely has a different feel to it in a good way compared to the Mezz.1, I think. Now this one here, they let me, again, do another custom order. Last time they let me custom order one as well, but this time the Mezz Max, they're doing a bunch of colors of the heads. And I can't remember how many colors, but there's a good amount of them. I think there's something like, actually, let me just, let me pull it up and I can kind of show you. So the, oops, I went to the wrong page on the site, but they have, traditional black. I think they make, let me just pull it up here. They make a traditional just black like they always make, and then in terms of color, you've got but it's not standard. So putter, you've got black, a blue, orange, platinum, red, and then this is what they call cappuccino. So it's kind of a brownish gold color. And I said, you know what? My Mezz.1 was done in black, and that was the way they made them. So I was like, I'm going to do a different color. And I was going to do platinum, kind of the gray one, and then I saw the cappuccino, and I said, man, there's just something about that cappuccino one that looks pretty cool. It looks really goldish when you look at the photos on Lab's website. When you get it in, it's definitely more of like a brownish bronze color. And to be honest, huge fan. I think actually I really like the color it showed up in better than what I saw online. I think this is kind of gives it that a much more intense, but like, yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of those old Odyssey Tour putters that were butane finish, and they had that brownish kind of look. This is like a total brown color, and honestly, I really like it. It's dark enough where it suits my eye for dark, rusty black clubs, but it's light enough where it's definitely different than black, and it actually frames the ball pretty well. I do like the color standing over it. There's still no glare or anything like that from the sun, but I went cappuccino this time, and then I went triple sightline on the top, which I think my old one I did just a single sightline, or my other Mezz. Again, I don't have it with me. Another guy from Works, WRX, is playing with it, messing around with it. So this is the triple sightline. I went with that, and then I went my traditional specs though, which I think is 69 grams lie, or 69 degrees lie, loft is standard, and then 33 inches. I went with the Acra putter shaft, which I guess Lab and Acra work together on this thing. Went that in white, because my other one I did a Stability Tour in white, a polar, so I wanted to go white again. And then this time I went with the Press 2 1.5 degree grip in the smooth. So the last one I did the textured, went the smooth here, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of black and white, got a little stitching in the back to connect the two, but it's got a cool look to it. But overall, I think the package looks really good. I was really impressed with it when I pulled the thing out of the box. And then, of course, yeah, I went with the brown head cover to match the putter head, and I think that was a great decision. They're all magnetic, thankfully, which is awesome. I hate Velcro putters. Putter covers, this one is magnetic, which I really like. But overall, like the the standard Mezz.1, a bunch of weights on the bottom. These again take a long time for lab technicians to get correct when they're building your putter. So because everything kind of plays into it in terms of what the lie is, what the shaft is, what the length is, what grip is on it, all that stuff plays into a factor. So getting the correct swing weight and the correct line angle balancing and all that, messing with these weights. I think Sam said these things could take up to 45 minutes to make each one in terms of getting those weights 100% right. And then you do not mess with them because they're in the place they're supposed to be for a reason. But overall build, really, really good. I love the look of it. The white shaft looks really cool. They got the the face has kind of the milled lines into it. I don't know if you can just see it on YouTube here, but has the grooved face milling into it, and overall just a really good look. So putting around, took a bunch of pictures at the office, then of course was putting in the office around with it, which is fine, and then took it out to the putting green and then to the course. So I've got that 15 holes on it plus some putting range sessions. I don't have a ton, but I do have to say right out of the gate, went to the putting green and it just felt really good. Through the stroke, I mean, like I said, it definitely feels really stable as you pull the club back. As long as, like I said, you let this do the work, you don't try to manipulate the face. Because like Sam said on my previous podcast with him, most good players, you're used to manipulating the face. Like you're kind of opening the face and then you're closing it as you come into impact. And with this, you do not do that. You don't have to. It's just going to stay, I mean, the face is going to stay pointed at the target the whole time. So I walked into the putting green, and honestly, it was just super easy. I think I made the second putt, which was from like 20 feet. The first one, I think, rolled just by on the left, and from there, I was kind of off and running. It's just really easy to use, and I think there is some added stability to this thing. So with my Mezz.1, compared to this, I mean, center strikes are center strikes. They both roll really well. The grooves on the face here, I think, do promote a little bit of more forward roll. There is zero skidding, zero hopping, anything like that. The ball just starts rolling towards the target. Now, I know some people with groove faces will say, oh, it comes off a little hot or it goes a little fast, whatever. I didn't notice that with the Mezz.1. I didn't notice anything like that with the Mezz.1 Max. And this is coming from a guy who was playing a Bettinardi BB-8W, which had just a solid milled face. Speed control was no different. I didn't have anything where I thought I put a good stroke on it and it went 4 feet by or anything like that. The putts I was hitting was the putts I was seeing. And like I said, short putts, super, super easy. As long as you get the line right and you get the speed right, you're going to make the putt, which I know that's kind of like 2/3 of the battle. But I do have to say that there's definitely some added consistency with this thing in terms of short putts. It just, like I said, does the work. I mean, as long as you don't try to manipulate face, you just pull it back, you kind of let it go through, the ball is going where you lined it up, and it just goes that way. Like I said, the putting green, I kind of, if I wasn't making putts, I was just missing, and I was missing really close. I only maybe had one putt where I hit it a little firm and it went a few feet by, but anything that I hit well was right around the hole if I didn't make it. And short putts, like I said, especially if maybe you use a line or something like that on a ball, it is super easy to hit the target you're looking at. The impact, the feel of it is actually, I think, a little softer than Mezz.1. I don't know if it's basic. I don't know if it's maybe like the Acra shaft compared to the BGT Stability Polar, because they're two different shafts and they are slightly different grips. But this thing here definitely feels a little softer, a little less vibration to it, and it has a little more muted sound as the ball comes off the face compared to the Mezz.1, which I thought the Mezz.1 felt really good. It's, this is just like that. It's an aluminum putter, a steel block in the middle where the shaft goes into it, but overall aluminum does typically feel pretty soft on most putters. And I think with these grooves on here, and same with the Mezz.1, they're just really soft, responsive putters. But like I said, I think this is a hair softer, and I think it's a little more muted. And it may be something with size, maybe it's something, with the weights being out there more. It could be maybe the shaft in this, but it definitely had softer feel and sound than my Mezz.1. But I noticed that the one thing that I noticed is when I went and played, I hit a lot of putts in the center, which was great. But I was hitting, and I've done this lately, and I don't know what it is. I mean, it's me. I've been hitting stuff just slightly off the toe, like just a little bit. As I'm coming through, I think I don't know if I'm pulling the putter down or I'm coming a little from outside to in, but I'm hitting everything just a little, or not everything, but I'm hitting when I miss the putt center, I'm hitting it a little off the toe. And I've been doing that with my Bettinardi. I did it with this, and it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing how much better the ball stayed up online with this thing. I had at least two putts where I was like, that's not even close to hit it off the toe. Like, it's gone. Or, it's not even coming close. And the ball rolled right by the hole. I mean, it was one of those, if you didn't know, if you were able to blindfold me, whatever, and I didn't know I hit it off the toe, I would have thought I hit a great putt. I would have thought I hit a really solid putt. The stability on this thing is definitely improved, definitely better. And like I said, I hit a handful of putts off the toe, and none of them ended up in spots where I really had to grind out that two putt or something like that. It really kept the ball in line, and I was kind of impressed with how online that ball stayed with, like I said, hitting it out kind of. And it wasn't much. I mean, it's just like a little bit, kind of on the three lines on the face. I was probably hitting it off the second line towards the toe. So it wasn't a crazy amount, but it was enough where the putter gave you a little, you felt it. The putter would, you kind of felt and sounded, or felt and heard it when you hit it. It gave just a little bit firmer feel. So you knew you hit it. One, I know I've been doing it lately out on the course. And like I said, but if you were able to take those two factors out of it and just watch the ball roll, you wouldn't have known you didn't hit a good putt with it. It was really, really impressive. At first, and then with long putts, I think the long putts are much easier to adjust to with this putter. Again, I don't know if it's the MOI, the weights being further out, or what it is about the bigger head, but I definitely felt more confident with my lag putts. And then that's something with the Mezz.1 when I first got it, I kind of struggled with was long lag putts. Anything that I had was long with this, I had more confidence in. I mean, maybe it was from going to the putting green, hitting some really good putts right out of the gate, but going out and playing with it, I definitely putted better, especially from a distance, than I did with the Mezz.1. And again, I don't know if that's necessarily just getting some really good practice, reps in with it, and then going to the course and playing and having that confidence, or if it was something where, this putter, which it does have, to me, a little different feel through the stroke, maybe that little different feel, that more stable feel, gives me, gives me that confidence to be maybe a little more aggressive with those lag putts or something like that. But I hit the lag putts really well. Never really had a bunch of putts where you said, "Oh man, that's that's a 6-footer coming back," or leaving it crazy short or anything like that. All my lag putts were definitely much better. When I do miss with this, it's typically I miss short. I just don't hit it hard enough. And that would probably come with a little bit of time, just being used to, again, pulling the putter back, letting it do the work, and just pulling it maybe a slight bit back, a fraction of an inch more, or anything like that. And I think that would come with time as with using it. But overall, the Mezz.1 Max, I like it better than the original one. If you gave me the option and said pick one, or both standing on the shelves, exact same specs, everything, I'll go with the Mezz.1 Max. I think it's just a little more forgiving, and especially now, having a day where I knew I wasn't hitting the center, I was hitting a little off the toe, all that, and being able to still either make putts or get putts really, really close where I just tapped them in, it was really, really impressive. And it's nice that, you don't have, sometimes when I go out and practice putting, not that I'm a great putter, but I'll purposely hit stuff off the toe, hit it off the heel, whatever, just to see what happens. What happens to that putter? Does the ball still roll on line? Does it go right or left? Whatever. And took this out. I didn't have to do that because I was just hitting putts in a different location than I should have. So overall, really impressed with the Mezz.1 Max. It's really, it does have I think some added stability to it. The feel of it through the stroke, the weight, the balance of it through the stroke, I think is improved. Like I said, I can't necessarily put my finger on what 100% is different between the Mezz and this, but this thing just, I just, as soon as I pulled it out of the box and hit some putts with it, it just felt really good. And overall, I don't think the size is that big of a difference. I mean, maybe if I had my Mezz.1 back and I got it back from my coworker and put it down next to the head, sure, maybe I'd notice a difference. But if you either haven't hit a Mezz.1 or you don't have one sitting down, that you can set this thing right next to, I don't think the overall size of it's going to be anything to gawk at. And especially if you get one of the darker colors, the black, the platinum, the cappuccino, I think those, are definitely going to give it more of a traditional look anyway. I think it's one of those where, you're just not going to notice the added size, but I think you will notice the added stability and the added forgiveness that this head definitely gives you. So overall, I've been super impressed with it. The Acro shaft's really good. It definitely is a little bit stiffer than steel. And again, I don't know if that is something that's making the sound and feel a little bit softer than the Mezz.1, but it definitely has a little stiffer feel that I do like. Everything felt online. And then honestly, like I said, the grip, which when I first pulled it out of the box, I said, I'm not going to like this grip. I just don't like it. The more I putted with it, the more I've gotten used to it. It does have a little tack to it, nothing crazy, but it is, there's no texture to it. So when I first pulled it out, it kind of felt slick to me. But now the more I've used it, the more I've gotten used to it. And honestly, it's got a decent tack to it. I haven't had a problem. Now, I haven't played in 90-degree weather yet, and I won't unfortunately do that till probably next year or something like that. It's going to be a while before I play in super hot weather. But so far the grip, I've actually started to kind of like the feel of it. And it's not anything that I've slipped or anything like that. Now the press grips, are definitely a little interesting. They're kind of like an oval shape. They definitely take maybe just a hair of getting used to. But this one, like I said, it's the exact same size and everything as the Press 2 1.5 that I had before. Just that one had a little texture to it. So this one here, like I said, same thing. It fits in my hands well. It's kind of like I would say maybe, I've messed around with the Superstroke pistol stuff. This is probably maybe a hair bigger than a 1.0, a Pistol GT 1.0, maybe just a little bit bigger than that, and maybe kind of in between a 1.0 and a 2.0. But overall, I have grown to actually like the grip a little bit, which is kind of nice. And then the black and white part of it kind of looks kind of cool, where it's half white, half black. But overall, I've been really impressed with the putter. To say that it's taken over as a gamer, I don't know. I had a lot of fun putting with it. I'm going to putt with it again on Thursday and then possibly Friday. We'll see if the magic is kind of still there. But realistically, it was something that I kind of, when they said, hey, we'd let, got the Max coming out. Would you like to, you've already tried the Mezz.1. Would you like to try the Mezz.1 Max? I kind of said yes, but I was like, it's going to be the same putter, and to me, it's definitely not. It is definitely, to me, an improvement on the Mezz.1, which I know they're making both. But again, I think if you're going into it, the Mezz.1 Max is definitely worth trying. And honestly, if you read that it's 20% larger and that scares you, don't be scared. Like, it's really not that much bigger. And again, unless you're setting it down next to a Mezz.1, I don't think you're going to notice that, much of a difference. And honestly, it's not big to the point where it's obnoxious or anything. The Mezz.1 was a decent-sized putter. This is a big putter, but it's not anything crazy. It's not super huge. It's not anything that I think is, like I said, obnoxious or distracting or anything like that. So overall, really impressed so far with the Mezz.1 Max. Like I said, it took me a while to give lab putters a shot, just because I never liked the shape of the DF 2.0 or 2.1. But this thing, the Mezz Max or the Mezz.1 and the Mezz.1 Max are definitely a better shape to my eye. But so far, I've been really impressed with this putter and really had a lot of fun putting with it. And excited to putt some more with it as well. So it's definitely moved into the number 2 spot as it's fighting for number 1, but it's definitely number 2 for sure. The BB18 has had a little more time in the bag, but again, after maybe the next 2 days, this could be the one in the bag. So we'll see. But I'll definitely have this out a little more this week and be putting some more with it. So it's like I said, pretty cool. Just overall, really like everything they kind of done with this putter, and I've liked putting with it so far. So we'll give it some more time, but if you want to check out more, go to labgolf.com. They've got all the information on the putter, all the custom options you can order if you want. Now I will admit it's not cheap. I'll tell you that. But the nice thing is, even though it's not cheap, they do have a whole remote fitting thing. So if you are looking to get one and you decide, hey, this is what I want to do, if there's not a fitter near you, you can actually, which I did the remote fitting, you go near a door jamb that's 90 degrees, you hit some putts. There's a whole little video on how to do it. It's super simple. It took me all of 5 minutes to do. You have a buddy or your spouse, whoever, take a little video of you hitting a couple putts, send over your current putter specs, and they'll hit the rest up. And honestly, my Mezz.1 was done that way. It worked great. And then this one, I basically just said, hey, here are the specs from the previous putter. They built it the exact same specs, and it turned out really, really good. So go to labgolf.com, check out the Mezz.1 Max, and like I said, I think if you're looking for a new putter, it's definitely worth taking a look at and giving it a shot. All right, so great putter. Now we move into something a little different. How about a set of irons? And you've probably seen these all over. You probably saw these yesterday on my Instagram page. Posted a photo because they just got released, but I've also been messing around with the new PXG 0317 ST irons, which I know they're a blade, and I typically always tell you I don't play blades, but these things, PXG was nice enough to send me a set, and I've been messing around with them, recently. So pretty cool. When they showed up, I was like, man, these things are really kind of intimidating. They're pretty small, but they look sweet. They're all milled. And then I'll show you the pretty cool 4-iron cavity back here. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can kind of see they make it's kind of an interesting set. It's a set of blades, 311 STs. They're a set of blades, but the 3 and 4 iron, if you choose to go those irons, are done as a cavity back, which the cavity back is actually a pretty cool looking cavity back, I do have to say. The first iron I pulled out was the 4 iron, and I was kind of like, wow, these are pretty sweet. But we'd seen the ST irons on tour. I think it was right around the Rocket Mortgage somebody had the STs in. They had a set of raw ones, and so when I saw these, I was like, man, what are 0317s? I was like, that's the blade. But I'm like, well, maybe they're doing some type of cavity, a combo set where you can order certain irons in cavity back, certain irons in the blade. But no, they're not quite doing that. Basically, the whole set's designed where the 3 and 4 iron, you can get them as cavity backs. The 5 through gap wedge are traditional blades. So these things here are pretty much blades. They're pretty small. They're not crazy tiny though. They're not pink blueprint crazy. I set them down next to my PXG, my 0311 Gen 5 Ts, and they're a little bit smaller. They're not crazy smaller than that, but they are a little bit smaller than the Gen 5 Ts. So a little bit smaller, a little bit narrower sole, but they're not the craziest, tiniest blade in the world. But they do look pretty awesome with all the milling and everything on the back. It's one of those things where it just makes you wish that I was a better player and could play full sets of blades. But these things here, built with 8620 carbon steel, and they're triple forged, as PXG basically says. They press these things 3 times in 3 different dies to really get the precision shaping and everything out of them. They also have basically a ton of milling all over them, on the back, on the face, basically to just make sure they have the precise shapes and flat faces and all that they need to have. So tons of milling, which you'd expect from PXG. They've kind of been doing a lot of milling ever since they first came out. You've been seeing a lot of milling, a lot of screws. They do have the one single screw in the back, which is basically to enhance the swing weight or dial in the swing weight on your build. But it's not meant to be replaced or taken out, so it is what it is there. Whatever they build it with when they build your set, they're not going to sell you other ones or anything like that to replace them. And then, yeah, like I said, they basically are really built for, low handicap, high skilled players who are looking to work the ball and, put an emphasis on shot shaping and distance control. So that's what they're built for. And then they basically built the two long irons, the 3 and 4 iron with the cavities, in order to be a little more forgiving. They're a little longer, heel to toe as well, so they're a slightly longer blade shape to give them a little bit of added forgiveness and stability. They also have a little more weight down lower, so they do launch a little bit higher than the standard ones. So, but overall, really like the look. I'm a fan of PXG irons in terms of the shape. I know a lot of people say, well, they just look like pings, and they do have a little bit of ping look to some of the clubs. But I think these are just really sharp, and at address they look really good, really minimal offset to them. Almost zero, but very minimal. A little bit in the 4 iron. I didn't get the 3 iron because I can't hit it, and realistically, I don't really hit the 4 iron. I did, but I don't even really hit the 4 iron. 4 iron's got a touch offset to it, but everything after that, all the blades are pretty much pretty minimal offset to say the least. So. Really nice looking set. They do make them in black as well. I know some people posted some of the black finish online. When I got my set came in the standard chrome, which I'm okay with. I don't mind the chrome. I do like the black, but the chrome looks pretty good. It's pretty dull finish. It's pretty matte finished. It's got a little bit of shininess on the bottom, on the sole, and into the hosel a little bit, but for the most part, the milling and the finish is all pretty dull. Zero glare. I played with these on super bright day a couple weekends ago and never had a problem with anything in terms of glare or anything like that. The specs are a little more retro compared to other irons. These here play off a 47 degree pitching wedge, so definitely a couple degrees weaker than majority of sets. And then the 7 iron is 33 degrees and the 4 iron is 23. So the 4 iron is not quite as weak. Pitching wedge is definitely a little weaker, and then their gap wedge, they play off a 52 degree gap wedge if you get it. I actually do have the gap wedge, and I did play it quite a bit instead of just a standard, sand wedge looking gap wedge. But basically I got 4 through gap wedge, so I got one of the cavity backs, and I did get the gap wedge as well. And PXG basically built them to the same specs as my Gen 5 tees. Because those are the specs they have on mine on hand, so that's what they built them to. So these ones here, same thing, Elevate 95s in stiff flex, and just like my Gen 5 tees, and same loft lie specs, all that, which I think are standard lie, maybe 1 degree up, but I think they're standard lie, and standard length, so pretty much standard. So got these things in, and was really, as soon as I opened the box and pulled these things out, they looked just awesome. They really do have a really good look to them. Again, I'm not a huge blade guy, so but I'm taking them out and playing them. I'm gonna go try them. So took them out and played them right when I got them. First thing I'll say, they're really soft. They really have a soft feel to them, and I know in terms of feel, soft is kind of a relative term, and people will always say this brand or this iron is softer than another, and this brand to me is always the firmest and whatever, and that's totally fine, because it is. Feel and sound are totally subjective to what you like and don't like. These to me, extremely soft. I think these hold up. When you hit it in the center, they hold up to basically pretty much anything out there in terms of feel, or in terms of softness. If you're rating that, I think they are, very close to everything else. That you would go by. From every other major manufacturer, if you want to go out and get their set of blades and hit them, and you hit it in the center, I think these are going to be as soft as anything out there, but extremely soft when you strike it on the center. That does get a little firmer when you go out and you start missing it, low or out on the toe or anything like that. My miss lately has been kind of low toe. I've been kind of like early extension, kind of raising my body off the ground before I hit the ball. which is a problem I've had for a while. I kind of solved a little bit of it earlier in the year, but it's crept back in a little bit. So I've hit a lot of shots kind of unfortunately low toe. Yeah, in terms of feel and sound, they're absolutely phenomenal. When you hit in the center, I mean, it's just that whoosh, and then there's kind of like that thud as the ball leaves. It's one of those things that you chase after you hit the first one. When you hit the first one flush, or you hit the ball flush on there, you're just chasing to try to do it again because it feels that good, and it really does come off with just a solid feel, and the ball just goes, and it just makes you feel like such a good golfer, and it really does. But the initial feel and everything, like I said, very solid. The feel of it's really solid. Now it will get a little more firm, a little more harsh, a little higher pitch when you miss it. Like I said, I've been missing kind of low toe a lot lately, which is kind of a weird spot. But like I said, with my kind of early extension and kind of all that, it makes sense. But so I've been hitting a lot of low toe. Those I definitely notice. I mean, when you just miss it, it tells you right away that you just missed it. Like I said, you get greeted with a slightly more firmer sound and feel to it. If you get everything pretty much close to center, though, I mean, the feel is still pretty good. Even if you don't hit dead center, you're just outside of it. Feels still pretty solid, pretty good. The other thing that was really impressed with was the distance on these, because before I took them out, I didn't look at the specs. I saw that they built them to my specs, but I didn't look at the lofts on them, and I just took them out and went and played. And I wasn't changing anything. When I was 150 yards, I pulled 8-iron. When I was 170 yards, I pulled 6-iron. Like, that's the yardage I hit. So I just went and played those yardages. And for the most part, if I hit the ball solid, I hit those yardages. It was, if I hit a 7-iron 160, it went 160, and I walked up and I was, on the green where I should be. If I did miss it, the drop off was definitely noticeable. That's the big difference between like the Gen 5 tees and this. The shots I'd hit kind of low off the toe. On Gen 5 tees, I could get away with it and probably just maybe get the ball on the green. Here I was coming up short. But it's a blade. I mean, it's not meant to be crazy forgiving, all that. When you miss it significantly from the sweet spot, you're going to notice a drop off in distance. And I did notice that. Like, I would come up short of the green, and balls I hit in the air, I was like, that's just not going to make it. Like, you just knew right from the responsiveness off the club, it wasn't getting there. But shots that you hit in center, I was kind of impressed with how far they went. Like I said, with these being a couple, like pitching wedge being a couple degrees weaker, that's the only one I noticed was pitching wedge that I hit a ball really, really well. And pitching wedge for me is like a 125-ish type club. The low end of my bag, I just don't hit very far. So instead of being 130 like it should, and 9-iron being 140, it's really like 125. But I hit a shot, struck it well, and came up a little short. And I was kind of a little perplexed by it, but, chalked it up to maybe there's some wind, whatever, and just moved on. And then later on, when I came home and I was, checking these things out, realized that, the pitching wedge is 47 degrees, where I'm used to playing 45 and 46 in terms with, player speed irons that have thinner faces and all that. So totally understand that I may have come up just a touch short with the pitching wedge, but that's the only club that I noticed anything different with. Everything else, when I hit it solid, it was basically the distance that I usually hit. And like I said, being a degree or maybe two off of what I typically play, it was pretty impressive to see that these things still go a decent ways. But the nice thing is you don't have to worry about, I know some people complain with the player's distance category, well, you catch that flyer, you hit it in the right spot on the face, and it goes 10 yards further, or whatever that case is. You don't have to worry about it with these because they're a solid forged piece. There's no hot spot on here or anything like that. These things do definitely spin really well. I mean, everything into the green is, at least for me, from like 7-iron down, if you're in the fairway, it basically hits and stops, and that's it. 6-iron to 6 and 5-iron, I'm definitely going to get a little more release just because I don't hit them that crazy high, but they tend to have a good amount of spin to them, and they definitely get in the air fairly easily. Now, you can work the ball really easily with these as well. Not that I try to necessarily hit, fades and draws and all that, but, a little bit. I try to kind of play into the wind and things like that. And these things definitely will allow you to work the ball with no problem. I mean, I had no problem just trying to hit them straight, but if you want to work the ball and play your cut or play your draw or anything like that, they do exceptionally well there. You are able to kind of flight the ball down as well very easily, hit some kind of low shots. I was able to get a little off the tee with the 4-iron. One of the days played with them, it was windy and hitting into the wind, and just kind of played it back in my stance a touch, nothing crazy, hit that and the 4-iron and definitely hit it a little lower and flatter, which was pretty nice. But then off the tee, hitting it, and even actually hitting a couple shots off the turf, hit the 4-iron, plenty high. I mean, granted, again, I don't hit the ball crazy high, so it wasn't anything like it was, piercing clouds and causing rain to shatter down, but the 4-iron is actually definitely a little more playable than I would think the blade 4-iron would be in this set. Turf interaction, really good. Now, they definitely have a little bit of bounce to them. They put on here like a 7-iron has about 6 degrees of bounce, and the pitching wedge has about 10 degrees. They definitely have a decent amount of bounce, and they've got like a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a killed leading edge, but the leading edge has kind of been rounded off as well. So when you get steep or get down on a little bit, the club still kind of hits and wants to get kind of out or through the turf and out fairly easily. Played with it in some decently soft conditions. I wouldn't say the craziest soft conditions, but pretty soft after some rain up here. Never had a problem with digging on these, and I was a little worried about it just because the sole is a little narrower than my Gen 5 tees. So I was a little worried about it digging a little bit, but it didn't. It really was a pretty good turf interaction there. The thin sole gets through the rough with no problem. Overall, just a really playable iron. Like I said, the biggest thing you're going to notice with these compared to, say, the Gen 5 tees, misses are going to carry a little farther with the Gen 5 tees. These things also do spin a little bit more. Shots out of the rough tend to hold the green a little better than my Gen 5 tees. I mean, if they both get up in the air and land, you get a little bit less release with the blades. So they've been really, really solid. The 4-iron, like I said, is actually pretty darn good. I mean, this cavity back one, I think it looks really cool, and I kind of wish they would make like more of these. Like you could get 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even a 7 in these cavity backs, and then make the blades as well, and you can kind of blend them into the set however you would want to, because they are a really kind of cool looking iron. I mean, they really did do well with these, and they're pretty sweet. But off the tee, I was actually surprised. I hit these things off the turf. Again, I don't hit 4-irons really great off the turf anyway, but off the turf, I was able to get this thing up in the air, and it was playable enough. Not so much where I'd be calling myself consistent with it, but off the tee, I was able to hit some shots with it, and honestly, some shots again that were definitely longer than I thought. Like this thing's 23 degrees, and I was hitting it basically just behind spots that I was kind of playing my Mizuno Fly High and Tour Edge tie utility 4-irons. And those are basically cut down to 4-iron length and all that. They're not any longer. But I wasn't that far behind. I mean, off the tee, I could hit one of those if I really smoke it and you get some roll and all that. It can go 220, maybe 225 if you absolutely killed it. I think I've hit one in Arcos at like 225. And this thing here was probably all of like 215, all that, when I really struck it well off the tee. So, I mean, not much behind it. And off the tee, I mean, I'm looking to place the ball anyway. I'm looking to keep ball out of trouble, specifically on the hole that I really kind of measured on. At St. Clair Shores is a big pond to the right. It's hole 6. Hole 4. And 4's got a big pond to the right. Water's at like 230, 220, depending on where the tee box is and what tee box you play. But I play 4-iron off there unless it's crazy into the wind, because I can hit 4-iron and then still go up and hit like an 8-iron or 9-iron if you really hit it well, and have no problem to the green. So I play a lot of 4-irons off there and hit a couple really good 4-irons here that honestly I was just a little bit behind where I typically hit a really good shot with those utility irons. So and those all are multi-piece, thin-faced irons. But this thing, for being a one-piece forged and having a little more weight around the perimeter, really was pretty long. Was definitely longer than I thought it would be. It went on decent ways. It definitely is a little more forgiving than the blades. I hit a few kind of further off the toe that still carried pretty well, still got up in the air. Again, this one you can still flight it down. Like I said, off the tee, had a day where it was windy and decided to play my little slightly back in the stand shot, and I hit it a little flatter, and it went perfectly. But again, if you're hitting it off the turf or hitting it off the tee and you want to hit it high, setting it up regular and just swinging and all that is perfectly fine. So Again, this one here, turf interaction is pretty good. Definitely has less bounce. This thing, I think the 4-iron goes down to 3 degrees, but still, that kind of rounded leading edge, that rounded front, does kind of help as that club comes into the turf to kind of, get it through quickly, get it out of the turf, not take some monster divot. You're not going to be making, you're not going to be using these as shovels to dig ditches or anything like that. And again, even on the cavity back here, being a little different design, still really soft feel, really solid feel with all these. The other thing too, the gap wedge. So I have this as the gap wedge here if you're watching on YouTube or anything, but I have a gap wedge there. Played a lot of that, and at 52 degrees, it was pretty nice. Even chipping with it around the green, hitting little pitch shots, stuff like that, was actually not bad at all. I mean, it really did. Now the shape is more iron-like. It's not as rounded. It's not as kind of large-looking as a traditional 52 degree or 50 degree, depending on what you play. But it definitely has more of an iron look to it. But, if you just take that little, pitch or chip swing and use it the same way and don't think about the fact that it's a blended part of the set, ball comes out really well. That milled face that's, flat, the grooves there, it spins pretty good. You get a lot of, a good check with it, especially stuff off the fairway. You'll get a good amount of control out of that thing, and you'll get some good spin out of it. Full shots from the fairway, it would hit, pull back a little bit. I mean, everything that my 50 and 52 degree sand or gap wedges do, this gap wedge had no problem doing that. And it's actually kind of not bad because it's 12 degrees of bounce. So full shots from like the fairway and stuff, it actually was pretty nice. The turf interaction was good and almost a little bit better than some of my gap wedges that are like 9 degrees and things like that. So, but the STs, these 0317 STs, the 3x forged, they're on the site now. I think they're, what is it, 159 a club when you buy more than 5, so $159 a club. So if you're doing like my set, which is 4 through gap wedge, you're looking at $12.72, plus shipping, which isn't too bad. I mean, for a set of forged blades that are really nice. In terms of, PXG kind of labels them as like the sharpshooters irons, the sniper irons, because there's, the distance control, the shot shaping, all that. I think anybody who's a blade player, if you're a really good single digit, I would say if you're a, 5 below, hit the ball really well with your irons, these things are really good. I mean, they really have good feel to them. They're definitely really soft, and I think honestly at the price they're at, you're playing in, in the arena with, all the other kind of forged blades out there, but really solid, really impressed with them. Like I said, the biggest thing I was impressed with was how long they go. I mean, the distance-wise with them, being a little weaker loft set through the set, that I was able to hit shots that have been, that were the same distances that I hit my Gen 5 tees. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, but they were pretty much going the same. And then recently, so what I've been doing is actually I took the 5, 6, 7 Gen 5T and played them with the 8-9 and pitch of the STs. So I've kind of combo setted them up and played the 8-9 pitching wedge, even a little bit of the gap wedge depending on what I'm doing there. But I've been playing these as a combo set the past couple rounds. So in the short irons, I can play with them. I can hit them well. Anything 8-iron down, I can reasonably strike it well and play them. But I've liked them that much that the feel is that good and they go a good ways. That I've been playing, these as a combo set with my Gen 5 tees. And honestly, when you set them down to look at them, they blend really well. I mean, they're the same kind of silver finish. The shaping's very similar. And the tees aren't that much bigger. I mean, really, the top line and all that, they're not that much larger than these STs. Maybe just a little bit. But I've been playing a good amount of these and kind of blending them up, and that's kind of been a little bit of what my gamer set has been, or I've been playing the most of. So I've been really enjoying them, and I think they're really great for if you're looking for something, a precise players club. They're definitely worth looking at, and I think they're really, really solid. So been having a good time with those, and like I said, really like the feel and everything. The looks of them have all been really good. So 0317 STs, which are the new ones there, but they're on PXG's website. If you just go to pxg.com, they've got all the info on there. I know in the forums I posted a bunch of pictures, and People really like the look. They're kind of wishing you could get that cavity back either through the full set or further through. I think that would be kind of cool, and I would definitely be interested in that. But at the time, just the 3 and 4 iron, and they basically go 3 through gap wedge, depending on what you're playing. So, like I said, I've been a big fan of them. Now, the interesting thing, too, is they might be 370 hosel. When I looked at the build sheet, the Elevate shafts in here, I'm pretty sure it said that they were a parallel tip. Which is interesting, but these might be 370 hosel. I don't know 100% for sure because I haven't pulled the shafts out of them yet because I haven't needed to, but they may be 370, which would be interesting if there's something where you're thinking about buying a set and then reshafting them. You may have to look into it and see what exactly they are, because there's a chance they might be parallel. But anyway, like I said, a big fan of the 317 STs. I think they're a great set of blades for players who are looking to play blades and really want a good soft feel with great distance control, workability, a fairly thin sole, all that. I mean, they pretty much fit the bill for make all the check boxes off for a set of blades. So, like I said, go to PXG.com, check out the 0317 STs. They're pretty sweet. So, but yeah, that's what I've got today. Like I said, I was super excited about this show just because it's two products that I've been kind of a fan of and been playing a lot of golf with. Been rocking those. And then next week, probably I'll do my what's in the bag for kind of end of the season. Kind of see what kind of made it, what maybe didn't, and I usually go through what kind of came in second or whatever. But I'll kind of go through what's in the bag next week. And yeah, I think that's all I've got this week. Hopefully, you guys have a good week. Again, follow me on Instagram if you can at Club Junkie Pod. Wherever you listen to the podcast, please subscribe, sign up, like it, whatever you got to do. It's great. At any time, the more followers and all the stuff that I get, the more stuff that people are willing to send me that I can talk about with you guys. So it works out great. And then if you're watching on YouTube, please, again, subscribe, check all that, look up Golf WRX Radio. Yeah, so hopefully you guys, again, have a great weekend, have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you next week.